Hello children, welcome back to the English session. Going further, I'll just remind you of the homework which I've already given you children in the last session, grammar homework. I think I've given you the transformation of sentences, 5 transformation of sentences in the form of voice. Children, I have already sent you the answers in the group. Just check it out, the answer. Check out your answers. Any problem, any doubt you have, you do not understand or something like that, make another column in the same book, put it in the group, or otherwise just make it and specify that this is the doubt. I'll clarify it as soon as possible after the reopening of the school, or if it is not that big problem, I'll just sort it out in the group itself. Okay, so you can put it in the group or either put it aside in a column which will be said as a doubt column. Okay, so children, starting with our next poem, we have finished our first chapter. So starting with the next poem, we will take up a poem, and that is My Mother at 66 by Kamla Das. Now in this poem children, now children, another important thing, how many of you have already downloaded the textbooks? Okay, if you do not have the textbooks, fine, it's okay. But if you can download the link, okay, you have been already provided with the link of all the textbooks which will be available in the your mobile. Just go to the link, start off, and you will get all the textbooks of NCERTs. Okay, so doesn't have to take any tensions if you do not have the textbook. Try it out for a link which is being given in the group, and see if you can get it, or otherwise I'll give you the summary. That's not big a deal. So Kamla Das has published many novels and short stories in English and Malayalam under the name Madhavikutty. Madhavikutty is the name of a person. Some of her works in English include the novel Alphabet of the Lust, a collection of short stories, Padmavati, The Harlot, and the other stories. In addition to the 5 books of poetry, she is a sensitive writer who captures the complex subtitles of human relations. Okay, so all these children, when we talk about the poets, there are different kind of poets. Okay, now everyone doesn't write on the same topic. For example, there are poets. Everyone cannot be poet, because poets are some of the most intelligent person, we can say, whom, like, some people write on nature. They beautifully describe the nature. Some people write on the human relationship. So what are the human relation in the form of a poem? Everybody doesn't have this talent, but if you can try, children, if you can try in this pandemic situation, if you can jot down something, if you can just see around and write something, this can very much help you in your vocabulary, children. This words coming out of your mind. Put down some words. You are having so much of time right now. You can put so many of things seeing around, whatever you see around, the sufferings of the people or the tensions of the people, or you can see say it as the people, how they are enjoying, but at the same time how the people are suffering. All these kind of things you can put it on together, and you yourself can also make a poem. So let the school begin. Surely this is the homework for you children. It's not a joke, I'm seriously telling you. Just write down a poem of your own, of your like how you will put up the situations, how your mind says, or how you feel about your emotional feeling or your hearty feelings about the today's conditions. So what is the situation today? So you can just jot it down. So just put it down in your own words. You all are a poet in yourself, children. You just don't come out with it, but you are all the person in this world. They have something, some talents in themselves, and writing out something from your whole heart, that is something very different. So this is the homework for today's session, that write something on the situation and jot down something as in the form of the poem. If you can, please do it. Okay, Now, children, writing what Kamala Das has to say about my mother at 66. The heading itself, the poet heading itself says something about what the poetry is all about. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Doors open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was old as she looked, but soon that way the thought went away and looked at the young trees springing, the merry children spilling out of their homes, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards. I looked again at her, wan pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma," and I did was smile, smile, and smile. So this is the textual lines of the poem. So coming down to the summary, what does the poem tells us about? Something we have got an idea out of it, what I have read it right now. You might have got some idea to what the poet really wants to tell. The first thing she wants to tell is about her mother. So the poetess Kamala Das had gone to visit her parents on one Friday morning when she was returning, and the mother was coming to see her off to the airport at Cochin. So here the poet is coming back, and the mother is going along with her to the airport to send her off. On the way, she noticed her mother sleeping beside her in the car. Her mouth was open and her face was pale. She looked like a dead body, pale and frail. The realization that the mother was now old was unacceptable to the poetess. She was pained by the thought. Pained means she is feeling that pain in her thought that her mother has become so old. She looked outside, trying to put off the disturbing thought. This thought of her, the thought that my mother is now old enough, is disturbing her. As the car moved, she saw young green trees seem to be running in the opposite direction. This is the main area, children. Just listen carefully. As the car moved by, she saw young green trees had flown by in the opposite direction. This made her realize how soon the time had flown by. The trees represented life, while her mother seemed to be going closer to her death. She saw some merry children rushing out of their homes to play. This scene reminded her of her childhood when her mother was young. She remembered her own youth full of energy and life. Her thoughts were in total contrast to what her mother appeared now. So this is what. Now children, can you get it? What is she trying to say? The first thing is her mother is very old and she was like traveling and she saw her beside her like she was sleeping. And while she was sleeping, her mouth was open and she looked very pale. Pale and frail means she looked very weak. She was looking very pale, very weak. So the thought disturbed her that why my mother is looking so weak, so old now. And that thought that her mother is getting old was disturbing her. Now to just wipe off that feeling from her, like she was just going out of the window. And she saw that so many young green trees just passed on. Means she's going ahead, that is she's driving to the airport, and she's just, when she was looking out, she saw so many young green trees just getting out of the opposite direction. At that moment after reaching the airport and finishing the security check, the poetess looked at her mother, and again she felt that she was as pale as the winter's moon. Okay, as she bid goodbye to her mother, she experienced the old familiar pain, her childhood fear that her mother may not live long. She felt that maybe she was seeing her mother for the last time. She tried to hide her own pain behind her smile. She told her mother that she would be seeing her soon and smiled to assure her that she would be coming as soon as possible. So, this is the poem relating to the time, children. It's the time. Today, you're very young, beautiful, handsome, whatever. But as the time passes, your children, your grandchildren, your own children, that is here in the poem, the poetess, she felt that how old my mother has become. And she's surprised to see that she is so weak, she's so pale, and she, at that moment of time, she's thinking that might be the next time I would not see my mother alive, she would be dead soon. So she is thinking the time just flies away, children. So it is not that every person coming onto the earth is going to die one day. So when this phase of our life comes, you do not remain young and beautiful or handsome or strong enough. By the time passes, this is what is known as time. Time never waits for anyone, children. Time never stands for saying, okay, let me remain still for you. You will be ever young. The lifetime of yours, you will be remaining the young, the beautiful, the most beautiful or the most handsome person. When the time passes by, it goes off. So eventually your personality also oozes off. But the main thing she's comparing with the young trees. These trees are going to become old enough now. Trees right now, they are very much blooming, green trees, young green trees. But someday these are going to be weak. So these are how she's relating the human things with the nature. That is what she is saying. And now in this session, children, so we are completing with this poem. I'll send you the summary of the poem, and just finish off writing with the summary. And if you have any doubt, please clarify your doubts by putting your doubts in the group or make another column so that I can read through and explain you in the group. Okay. Thank you, children, for this session. Bye.